Our next question sent to CornyDriveThru at gmail.com from Danny Brown. What do you think? FTR says in 2019 sometime Triple H said a big wave of change is coming. A little while later they said Vince wasn't well for several months. And that's around when he pitched that dumb parody gimmick. Do you think that when Triple H pitched them that, it was kind of saying Vince is on his way out? He doesn't look well, and now we have confirmation he wasn't for an extended period. Dude, I think we may lose Vince in 2022. What are your thoughts on any of this?
I don't know why you came up with 2022, but...
No, 2020.
Oh, 2020 also.
And by the way, the subject line, Triple H knows Vince is dying? Question mark.
Oh, for God's sake. Let's not get that started. Knowing all those individuals, it's not unheard of that if there was conversation in the family that, Vince wasn't feeling well and maybe he was going to cede more responsibility to Triple H, that Triple H would then try to give somebody the Iggy that, hey, just wait, changes are coming. And it could also be that he was just given that standard line because that's what you do when somebody's unhappy in a wrestling business. So I can't validate or shoot the holes out of either one of those theories, to be quite honest. But it seems like Triple H has tried to avoid just outright bullshitting people. He prefers, he lets like the Bruces of the world do that. So it doesn't seem like he would have bullshitted him unless something was going to happen, but that it may have been something else completely that we don't know about. And then they had an idea and a week later they didn't have that idea anymore, because that happens all the fucking time.
We really haven't talked too much about this since the FTR interview. What did you think listening to them talk about their experience the last several years with WWE, Creative, Vince, Bruce, just that whole system? What did you think sitting back and hearing all that?
I think because of, it's a publicly traded company now and all that, they've got human resources, or, everything goes through a variety of levels of corporate now. I think nobody will just come. If you worked for Ole Anderson and you went in and said, hey, Ole, what the fuck? He would be honest with you. He'd either say, you know what? You guys have worked hard. I'm going to put the belts on you next week. Stick with me. I'll take care of you. And he'd do it. Or he'd say, you know what? I just don't like you guys. Or you haven't impressed me, or you've been here too long, or whatever. Maybe you need to go somewhere else. That was booking, and that was the wrestling business. You didn't yank a guy along because you didn't have to. They were yanking these guys along because they knew that they were going to be valuable against, for the opposition against the people who some claim are really the best tag team in wrestling. I don't want to mention their names. We're trying to stay positive here. So they figure, well, we don't want to give these guys a fucking benefit, but we don't like tag team wrestling. We're not going to use them, so we're going to string them along. And they don't really figure it's stringing them along if they're offering them money, because it ain't actually their money out of their pocket. It's money out of the corporation's pocket. So if they're paying them a lot of money and then not letting them do anything, then they are less sympathetic because you're making a lot of money. What the fuck? You're just complaining. Well, no, I just want to do something I'm happy fucking doing, motherfucker. So I'll go elsewhere. But that's the problem. Nobody has any balls, and there's not one person making all the decisions. Even Vince can't make every decision, even though Vince knows about anything of any importance, but he doesn't even actively tell guys or tell his people to lie to guys at that level. He really doesn't spend that much time on it. They're just bullshitting on their own because they don't want Vince to hear that they lost these two guys. Vince hears these two guys debut for AEW and he go, thought they were working for us. Who was in charge of that? And whether it would have been Laurinaitis or it would have been Triple H, or it would have been Bruce or whoever along that, then they would have had to get yelled at because they lost so-and-so to the opposition. That's why they don't want to do it. It's ridiculous in this day and age. But the point is, they're not going to feature tag teams on top. They're just not. So anybody that wants to be a tag team should not fucking go there. And because every tag team that's gone there has been miserable or split up or wanted out.
It's not even about pushing a tag team on top. It's about treating a tag team division with respect. Doesn't have to be the main event.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying in a feature position on top, not the actual main event of every show, although it's been proven time and time again that can draw, but it would take years now to reduce and eliminate the damage they've done to the perception of tag team wrestling in their company for it to ever mean anything, and they're not going to ever do that. But no, you could obviously, well, they're having enough trouble making a fucking star of any kind, single, tag team. You know, they've had better luck with the women. They've just come across better women that have helped them out quite a bit. They might have botched that up too, but you can't just keep making the tag teams meaningless and bottom of the card and the title not featured and etc. and, you know, and ever draw any money with it. And so anybody who wants to be a tag team should not work for the WWF. Anderson and Gallows. Boy, as soon as they didn't have a fucking option, they fucking cut them loose. Don't even get me started on that. I would go to a motherfucker's house with a can of gasoline and a blowtorch if they talked me out of doing something that I wanted to do on the theory they were going to pay me $750,000 a year, and that lasted for 3 months, and they said, no, I changed my mind. They'd be changing their fucking address. But that's what I got to say about that.
All right. Well, let's get some more questions here on this positive edition of the Drive-Thru.